long time, but remember, we are going to go through an actual accident just as it would happen in real time. It's important that you listen closely to what I am saying while watching the events that occur. This demonstration is designed to show consequences of drinking and driving and texting and driving. We hope that this presentation will help you make intelligent decisions during prom, graduation, and the rest of your lives. Picture this. The date is Friday, May 24th, 2017, prom night. It's a beautiful evening, and couples Zach Jones, Corinne Pennemaker, Kate Gillingham, and Joseph Bravo decide to have a small party before prom. After partying, they leave for the dance, and they are driving towards Suburban Collection Showcase in Novi. Meanwhile, high school seniors Isaac Phillips and Mallory Barrett, both 18 years old, are going to prom. Mallory is in the passenger seat. Isaac is driving. Zach decides to drive after having a few beers. He feels okay, but doesn't realize his reaction time is significantly slower and is swerving just enough to be a major liability on the road. As he slightly swerves into the other lane, Isaac is textfully driving and slow to realize that Zach is moving in his lane. The two cars collide head on. Passerby Stephanie Herman and Reed Sellers are driving behind and they witness the crash.
Joe! Joe! Zach, are you okay? Zach! Joe, wake up! Wake up, Joe! Isaac!
Reed calls 911. And police and fire units are dispatched as the 911 call is received.
What's your emergency? There's been a car crash. You have to help me.
Where's the car crash at?
The intersection of Milford Road and Watkins Boulevard.
Is anyone hurt?
I see 6 people, but one of them is out of the car.
Have you been involved?
No.
How many cars are involved?
There's 2. Are you on your way?
What's your name, sir?
Reed.
What's your phone number?
248-555-1212.
Okay, we're on our way. Hold on.
Okay.
From this moment on, as these vehicles crash, the medical personnel refer to this as the golden hour of trauma. Emergency medical personnel know that time is against them and they must work fast. If victims are brought to the hospital, they can be stabilized, thus increasing their chances of survival. More often, accident victims die from the shock of their injuries, not from the accident itself. The chances of survival from major trauma all depends on the speed of treatment. While we are waiting for help to arrive, let me explain to you what took place when the cars collided. Zach's car is driving going 55 miles an hour and Isaac's vehicle going hits Isaac's vehicle going 50 miles an hour head on. Zach's car struck Isaac's car. The front bumper and chrome plating of the grille collapsed, the hood rose and crumbled into the windshield while the rear wheels left the ground. Meanwhile, Zach, Corinne, Joe, and Kate continued to travel at the vehicle's original speed of 55 miles an hour. At 20 times the normal force of gravity, their bodies each weighed 3,200 pounds. Zach was lifted off the seat, hits the dashboard. The plastic and steel frame of the steering wheel began to buckle under the grip. His head was near the sun visor and his chest was above the steering column. The front of Zach's car has been demolished, but the rear end was still traveling at 55 miles an hour. Zach's body was still traveling at the original speed. The engine impacted Isaac and Mallory's car greatly. Zach's condition continued to worsen. His hands frozen to the steering column were bent in the vertical position. The force of the impact jarred him into the steering column, instantly causing irreparable damage to his body. Meanwhile, Corinne in the passenger seat was ejected out in front of the car because she was not wearing a seatbelt. Mallory received sustainable injuries at this time. She was not wearing a seatbelt. On impact, Mallory was ejected through the windshield in front of her. Her face and head struck first, causing her neck to snap back as the weight of her body lunged forward. This movement injured her spine, making her unable to move any of her muscles. She has a large glass shard embedded in her left arm. She is unable to remove it because her arms are paralyzed. Isaac was killed on impact. This includes down power lines, fire, leaking gas, or anything that could possibly endanger the rescue personnel. He will then check the injured and administer first aid as you have seen. He will contact the 911 dispatcher via radio to make sure that the fire department and ambulance have been contacted and are en route of the scene. Once the fire department arrives, the officer will manage crowd control in addition to the accident investigation. He will then attempt to identify the crash victims so that he can contact family or any emergency contact. The first victim they look to assist is 17-year-old Corinne Pennebaker. Corinne was in the front seat and was not wearing a seatbelt. On impact, Corinne was thrown through the front windshield while her body was still moving at 55 miles an hour. She was thrown onto the ground in front of the car. This impact caused massive head injuries as well as a large tear on both her lung and liver. From these injuries, Corinne is losing massive amounts of blood. She is comatose and non-responsive. There is nothing the paramedics can do. Corinne does not have a pulse or blood pressure. Corinne is dead. The paramedics will tell the police to call the coroner. The driver of the car is Corinne's date, 18-year-old Zach Jones. Upon impact, Zach's body was thrown forward. His face smashed into the windshield, causing multiple facial cuts and bruises and breaking nearly every bone in his face. Large pieces of glass are embedded into his face and scalp. Zach suffered an injury to his brain and is semi-conscious. His chest and abdomen impact the steering wheel, causing several ribs to break. A large segment of Zach's ribcage has been ruptured and he is rapidly losing blood. Lastly, his knees have been smashed in the dashboard, causing his right thigh bone to snap in two. Zach's heart stops. EMTs will have to use a defibrillator to restart his heart. The EMTs will split his right femur with anti-shock trousers. He will then be taken in ambulance to Huron Valley Hospital Trauma Center. backseat passenger is 18-year-old Kate Dillingham. Kate was wearing a seatbelt and is suffering major injuries. As the car collapsed against the other car, the left side of the car caved in, causing an injury to her right chest wall. Several ribs broke. One of the broken ribs has punctured her left lung, causing it to collapse. Kate remains conscious during all of this, and with each gasp of breath, she feels as the broken bones grind against it. The fire department EMTs will stabilize Kate's neck and back, then the paramedics will treat her shock by starting IV lines to replace the fluid that has been lost. Kate is continuing to lose large amounts of blood in her chest and stomach. Slipping further and further into shock, she continues to gasp for air, crying in pain. The paramedics will insert a large needle into her chest to relieve some of that pressure and is pushing on the collapsed lung. 18-year-old Joe Bravo was riding in the back seat with Kate. He was not wearing a seatbelt and severely hit his head during the collision. He was killed on impact. The emergency medical technicians determined that Isaac is also dead on the scene. Oakland County Police Departments determined that he and Joe will be left in the cars until the medical examiner arrives. This frees up EMTs to work on other victims. As the EMTs assess Mallory, they recognize that she has a serious neck injury. Extreme care is used in removing her from the hood so as not to cause any further injury. During this process, Mallory is awake, and although unable to move, she can still feel a great deal of pain and pressure. Of the 3 kids still alive, Mallory is in the most critical condition. The EMTs will stabilize her neck and back and remove her as quickly and carefully as possible from the vehicle. The EMT will insert a large tube through Mallory's mouth and into her windpipe. Through this tube, the EMTs will assist her breathing and administer extra oxygen. 2 large IVs will be placed into her arms, and the EMT crew will begin giving blood. Mallory will be taken into an ambulance to the trauma center at Harrow Hospital. At the hospital emergency room, Zach's breathing will be controlled by a machine. He will be given a large amount of blood and fluid to replace what he has lost. A large tube will be placed through his nose, down into his stomach to empty his stomach. Blood will be drawn from his arm. A surgeon will make an incision into Zach's abdomen below his navel, and a small tube will be inserted to find the source of bleeding. Within the hour, Zach will be in surgery. The trauma surgeon will cut open his abdomen, repair the tears in his liver and spleen. The orthopedic surgeon will insert a pin similar to a large nail to the bone near his knee, which a traction device can be applied. This will control his broken leg. The plastic surgeon will remove the multiple glass fragments and will try to repair Zach's face. His jaw will be wired to fix his facial bone fractures. Zach will remain in the intensive care unit on a breathing machine for several weeks after the accident, and when his condition stabilizes, he will go back to surgery and have a large rod inserted into his femur so it can heal correctly. He will be in the hospital for 5 weeks, followed by a long recovery period at home. About 18 months later, Zach will return to surgery to have the rod in his thigh removed, as well as his facial scars revised. The most devastating long-term effects will come from his traumatic head injury. He will not remember most of his friends, and he will have to work hard to rebuild basic skills such as reading and writing. His plans to attend Michigan State will be permanently put on hold. Also, because Zach was driving the car while he was drunk, he must now face criminal charges for the death of his schoolmates Isaac Joseph and Date Corinne. He is facing up to 30 years in prison. Upon arrival to the hospital, Kate's injuries will be quickly evaluated. An incision will be made between her ribs on the right side of her chest, and a large tube will be inserted into her chest. This will help expand the collapsed right lung. Like Zach, Kate will have tubes inserted into her stomach, bladder, and abdomen, and will very quickly go into the operating room where the torn liver will be repaired. She will leave the hospital in about 3 weeks and will have extensive recovery period at home. Once Mallory arrives in the emergency room, she will undergo the same battery of tests and procedures with Frenzy. X-rays and computerized scans show fractured vertebrae in her neck. The neurosurgeon will take her to the operating room where the bones in her neck will be repaired. In order for her broken neck to heal, she'll be fitted for a metal halo that is anchored in place by rods sticking out of her skull. She will then be fitted with a heavy halo vest with large metal rods sticking out of her skull. The most this will accomplish is that Mallory will eventually be able to hold her head up and her spinal cord will never heal. She will spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. Mallory's dreams of attending and running at the University of Michigan are gone. Aside from all the physical pain that Zach, Melody, and Kate must go through, they must deal with the emotional pain of dealing with the deaths of their friends and classmates, Corinne, Isaac, and Joseph. Thank you all for coming today. All of us today hope that we have made a difference in the decisions we have made while drinking, and even texting while driving. Please promise us that you remember to think before you get behind the wheel of the car, saying goodbye to a friend.